You're about to hear a story based on actual events.
There is a figure standing in the bathroom.
Did it come through the wall into the home? Let's go.
Are we going? Are we on?
We're off and rolling.
Right.
We're live.
We're live. Fuck yeah. Hello.
Hello, Z.
I'm Israel Lewis.
I am Lewis Hamilton. No
Together-
relation.
Together we are Lewis's.
As yet unnamed, the podcast.
Yes. But I'm sure that we'll come up with one by the time
Exactly.
people are listening to it. One would hope. Or we could just not name it ever.
We need to come up. Yeah, possibly.
And no one would be able to find us.
I had a friend who didn't have a name for 12 weeks after she was born.
Really? That's unfortunate. What's her name now?
Rochelle. Some
Fuck!
boring. I know.
It took them that long
12 weeks.
to come up
It'll
with
probably be
Rochelle.
something like that for us too. We'll 12
Yeah.
episodes
It'll
and then
just
we'll
be
come up
like
with something
The
terrible.
podcast.
Yeah, big time.
So what are we talking about on our podcast?
We are talking about mysteries,
Yes.
conspiracies, potentially. If we run out of mysteries, we'll probably start talking about conspiracies.
Well, I mean, conspiracy theories are mysteries, essentially.
Yeah,
That's so originally
until they're solved or disproven.
Yeah, but a lot of times they're not.
Okay. I have a question about mysteries, actually,
Yep.
before we start. Do you think it
Haven't
counts
we
as a
already
mystery?
started?
Well, before we get into the meat of it,
Yeah.
do you think it counts as a mystery if it's already been solved? If it was like a mystery for 60 years or
Yeah, I guess so. Like
the East
yeah.
Area rapist, let's say,
Yeah.
was a mystery. Now they've caught the guy.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's a solved mystery. So
Exactly.
at one time it was a mystery, and so things like that I think that we can discuss on our podcast because it's our podcast and we can do whatever the fuck we want.
That checks out. That's a motto I use my whole life.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
then it makes sense it would permeate through the podcast as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, how was your day?
Yeah, it was fine. I spent it with you, so I feel like it's a loaded question. If I say bad, it's not going to be a
Yeah,
good
it's
reflection
not
on our
gonna be good for you.
friendship.
No, absolutely not. Cool.
Yeah. How was your day?
It's been good. It's been nice.
Okay.
I spent the morning finalizing my mystery that I plan to discuss today. And then I spent the rest of it with you. We ate some yummy curry.
Were you
I
still
put way
studying
too
today?
much-
You don't care about this podcast at all.
I care so much about this podcast. I did it like all day yesterday when I should have been doing an assignment.
Yeah, you were way ahead of me. If I'm going to be honest, I did most of my research this morning.
Yeah. I just finalized a few things. I thought about it. When I woke up this morning, I was like, I want to include that because there's so much content in my mystery.
I'm starting to feel worried about the amount of research that I've done. I
You're
thought
worried that
you
it's
were
too
going to be on the
much?
back. No, that you are going to have done more. I thought that you were going to be on the back foot. I was like, Izzy will not be prepared. She'll roll up
Why?
with no notes. I've
Why
got 4 pages
underestimate
of
me so
notes,
much?
and then I don't know. I just because you're just like,
4 pages is quite
maybe
long.
a little more laid back.
Yeah. You're right. I'm very laid back. Very chill.
That makes 2 of us.
So why a mystery podcast? My mysteries.
Well, yeah, there's a good question as well. I think the reason why is it's just like there's not any other podcasts out there that are looking into mysteries.
You're right.
Like murder mysteries, there's none. It's such a like empty corner of the internet.
It's an untouched. Untouched?
Untapped market, I'd say.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
probably the right way to say it.
Yeah. I agree. It's a brand new genre
Yeah.
of podcasting.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, people will probably be interested in murder mysteries. No one's doing it. They need like,
Well, that's not all going to be.
and there's not many podcasts where there's 2 people in a conversation either. So it will just really
Yeah.
change up the format.
Yeah. I mean, we're not just doing murder mysteries, though.
Well, any mysteries, exactly. That's right.
We'll probably cover.
No mystery is safe.
So we were just going to do conspiracy theories. And then I had an epiphany on Wednesday.
I'm glad you had an epiphany. I'm into conspiracy theories as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
But only as much as the next guy. And the next guy generally isn't really that stoked on conspiracy theories. I mean, they're okay. They're fine.
They are fun.
They're like
But having mysteries as the genre or
when you said
topic.
mysteries, it clicked. I was like, yeah, definitely
Yeah.
mysteries. We're kidding ourselves with
well, because we
conspiracy
can cover
theories.
conspiracy theories under mystery.
It's
And
like
we-
the umbrella term is mystery.
Yeah.
I would say you can cover lots of things.
Yeah. And we also don't have a name yet, so I thought it might be easy to name a mystery podcast.
There were no good puns with the word conspiracy or theories.
What about mystery?
Well, yeah, I
Have you
assume it's
Googled
going
it?
to be. I assume it's going to be a pun when we get to it.
We will
It's
get
low
there.
hanging fruit. We don't have very high comedy standards, so
No.
I mean that's probably what I'll go for.
Low hanging fruit?
Yeah, big time. That's
Maybe we should just
my
call
motto
it
for everything.
low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It's got a certain ring to it.
All right. Okay, let's
If
not
you
lock
were a
ourselves
kind of
into
fruit,
it
what
just
would you
yet.
be? Can I choose for you, and then you can choose for
okay.
me?
All right, fair enough. If
You know what I'm gonna
here's
say.
the thing though. I'm just gonna preface this section of the podcast by saying don't just think about the colour. Don't think about colour.
All right.
I know that's not exactly a visual medium, but I do have orange hair. And so if you come up with an orange, or I mean, like it's fine. If you come up with an orange and a
Okay.
mango and that's what's in your heart, it's fine.
I
I'm
want to
happy
choose
with it, but you
orange
need to go-
because not just because
I'm leaving. All right. It's been fun.
It's been fun. Not just because of the color of your hair, but because you're zesty. You're full of zest. Are they zesty? No, they're not like a
yes.
citrus fruit.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can get the zest of an orange.
Yeah, perfect. You're zesty.
You should know. You're a vegan.
I am a
That's all
vegan.
you eat.
Oh, I don't love an orange. An orange juice, sure. Pulp free. Thank
Zest free?
you. No, heaps of zest.
Okay.
And that's why I've chosen orange for you. I had orange hair for a time.
What happened? Did you have too many friends? Is the quickest way to color the list? I don't want to say a pomegranate for you, but I don't know why. I don't have any good like zest or
Pomegranate.
anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're like small and
Well,
delicate.
they've all yeah. They're a bit different. They've got like this. They do have a tough exterior. Once you get into the middle,
Ooh.
you've got all these
How
like
philosophical of you.
and you have to know how to eat it. You've got to know how to get in there for sure. So draw from that what you want. But I'm going pomegranate.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, the fact that you've just dyed your hair pink is playing into a little bit
Yeah.
as well. Like there is probably a little bit of a color correlation.
We're
there.
very colourful together.
Absolutely. And I realized that is, what's the word I'm looking? Ironic?
Sure.
Because I just said not to take color into consideration.
Yeah.
And then
And you
there's a
did
better
just that.
word. I'm reaching into the bag and coming up empty.
Well,
if I think
you don't
of it,
have it, I
I'll
don't have
interject
it.
with it later on.
Great.
Hypocritical. Got him.
Go.
Yes.
Yes. We got there.
didn't
You
take
got
long.
there.
Okay, good. All right, so we both. Okay, so the idea is that we've both come up with a mystery. We didn't tell each other what we've got, so hopefully we've not picked the same mystery. In fact, we know we haven't because we told each other which year it was from,
Yeah.
and they're not from the same year. Unless I'm really bad at research, they're not the same mystery.
We also just want to say that, well, I mean, I want to say, and I'm sure you'll agree, that our research probably isn't the best.
I do not agree. My word is final. My research was perfect. So if you've got, I mean, I challenge you to come up with any corrections.
I got most of my information from the very reputable website, Wikipedia.
no reference articles, I bet. Didn't go to the citations down the bottom.
Fuck no.
Why bother?
Who's got time?
Exactly.
I've got assignments not to do.
Which, I mean, you will also use Wikipedia for, I assume?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want well-researched mysteries, you've come to the wrong place.
Go and buy a book, loser, if you're looking for something that's well researched. Don't listen to this.
Yeah, don't listen to this. Turn it off. Go to the library. Alrighty, so should we get to it? Or do
Yeah,
you
we
wanna
should get to it. Let's
talk
just...
some more shit?
No, that's fine. I think we've had enough shit talking.
Alrighty. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I kind of want you to go first.
You want me to
and
go
I don't know
first?
why. Are you happy? Are you happy for
yeah, I
that?
can go first.
Okay.
See, you'll know that you'll be able to see where I fuck up and hopefully
Exactly.
do better.
Yeah. But also, it's kind of like if you're doing a speech in front of the class.
Why don't you burp into the microphone?
Well, yeah, I was trying to be okay. I was just wondering if you'd call me out on something next time I do something that's not obvious to everyone. Just make sure that everybody knows.
Of course.
Okay, so
This
it's
is
like,
just
but
a
if you're doing a speech in front of the class
private
and you
podcast.
just go first, then that's it. No, like people have got nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, obviously, best case scenario is you're terrible, and then I come
You'll
up and
look sick.
save it. But if you do really well, I might not even talk about mine.
You just
Because I've
leave.
got a pretty good idea of how good mine is. And if yours is amazing, I can't deal with that kind of pressure. I'll edit mine in before yours and
Yeah.
delete this whole part of the conversation.
Yeah, well, you're the man with the
Yeah, exactly.
computer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do.
It's a huge power move. I wouldn't put it past me. But anyway, let's get into it.
You
What-
just edit over me and
You'll be
re-record
surprised
with,
if
like,
you
a really
make it
high
onto the
voice.
podcast, if I'm being honest. People hear 2 words from you, you will say thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Alrighty, should I start?
Yeah. Tell me about it. What have you got?
Oh gosh. Okay. So it's the 1st of December, 1948. A man, well, I'll tell you, have you heard of the Taman Shud?
Is this the Somerton Man?
Yeah, the
yes.
Somerton
Okay,
Man.
amazing. I'm really glad
Perfect.
that you chose this one. And I was thinking about choosing it
Yeah.
because I have a general knowledge of what it is.
Yeah.
But I do want to know more about it. I had like a quick look into it and I was like, that's a really good one. I'm glad that you've picked it because it's like there's a lot to dive into here.
Yeah,
And
there's so
I'm gonna have a
much
good time asking you questions about it.
On the wonderful website Wikipedia, there's so much information. So this is obviously just going to be super brief, but like fairly brief. Like I could talk for fucking hours.
Oh, it's
about
quite
this
dense
case.
for sure. A lot of stuff happened. Just before we go any further, can you just tell me what you just said again? What's it called? What was the pronunciation on that one?
Hang on, let me just read it off. I'm a professional, obviously. Taman Shud. Taman
Nailed it.
Shud?
I mean, I don't know if that's right, but I saw it and I was like, that's
Should I
also
spell
part
it?
of the reason. Yeah, go for it.
TAMAN space SHUD.
Sure. Why not?
Taman Shud.
Sounds good.
Taman Shud. Alrighty, so 1st of December 1948. What?
I mean, just before we start, there's probably, and I mean, I might be wasting it by saying it now, but there would be a good, like if this guy's getting killed, there could be a good pun in there for him. Be like, oh, Taman should have done this too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I might have just blown my best content right at the top, but if an opportunity comes up for me to use that again,
Hopefully
I
that
will.
will get us some
I will
listeners
use it
alone.
again. All right. Okay, continue.
Alrighty, we all know what year it is. What year is it? 1948.
1948.
So
World War II was ending?
it's around that time, yeah. I'm not an expert.
What? On the World War
Oh.
II? The World War II.
World War II. Alrighty, stop. Let me do my mystery.
Okay.
All right. So a man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Glenelg, which is in Adelaide. He was propped up against the seawall with his legs out in front of him and his feet crossed. On him, he had a narrow aluminium American comb, a half-empty packet of juicy fruit chewing gum, which is an American brand. So Australian men didn't chew it at the time. So I'm told.
Not available in Australia?
Not available in Australia,
Right,
I
okay.
believe.
Well, it's all over the place now, so
Yeah, it's everywhere. They're blown
maybe
up.
he popularized it.
Maybe.
Just quickly before we go any further, I'm going to have a lot of interjections that aren't going to further what you're saying at all about the mystery, but I just wanted to mention that Glenelg is a palindrome, so it's the same forward and backward.
Fuck yeah, that's so rad.
I know.
I didn't know. Is that why you did like a little fist?
Well,
like,
no,
lower fist pump?
it was for the minimal encouragement.
Oh,
That
perfect.
which
Love
Izzy
it.
was schooling me about before we did the podcast. She has some prior experience comprising of one other podcast, and she told me that she was listening to herself and she was doing a lot of what is called minimal encouragement, which is when you're in a conversation with somebody and you will to let them know that you're listening and go, yes, okay, sure. But then when you listen to somebody else doing that back on a podcast format, it's excruciating. I've heard other people do it and I hate it.
Yeah.
So
When
I'm
you
trying to
hear
hold my
yourself
tongue. But I
doing
did
it,
it
you
once.
want to
I may
punch
edit
yourself
it
in the
out. Who
face.
knows? Okay.
I'll probably do it subconsciously while you're speaking.
Okay. I'll let you know. I'll stop.
But I just want you to know that I am listening to you. Hopefully I won't be the only one.
It's not a two-way street. I'll try and listen. I can't make any promises.
Perfect.
All right. Juicy fruit, not
Juicy
available in
fruit,
Australia.
not available in Australia. So we had that on him. An Army Club cigarette packet containing 7 cigarettes of a different brand. And a quarter full box of matches of a British brand that was not available in Australia. an unused railroad ticket from Adelaide City to Henley Beach, which is a coastal suburb of Adelaide, and a bus ticket that also hadn't been used. He also had an unlit cigarette sitting on his jacket as if he had put it in his mouth and then died and it had fallen out. All the other stuff is kind of paving the way to say because they think he's foreign. They think he wasn't an Australian man.
It's pretty interesting that there was so much stuff that you couldn't get in Australia. Like now you can just get anything from anywhere.
Yeah.
But you couldn't buy like matches or cigarettes.
No.
Or
Well, I guess
Juicy Fruit or...
after World War II, everything was like rationed. And
Well,
shit.
yeah, they didn't have the internet back then either. So how are they going to get the
How are you gonna get
the
Juicy
matches
Fruit?
over here?
Yeah.
Now they just text them straight through on the internet.
You just text the guy.
Yeah.
I have a Juicy Fruit dealer. He'll be here in half
I've got
a
a
second.
guy. I'll text him.
So witnesses had seen a man lying in the same spot on the previous evening, but had thought that he was just drunk or asleep.
Well, it's 1948. Of course. What are you going to
yeah.
do? Stop for somebody? I don't think so. I mean, even now, I feel like if you saw somebody just like...
Drunk. I think I would, I don't know.
It's easy for you to say when there's not somebody there. Stop trying to make
Yeah.
yourself sound good.
Yeah. Look, I probably would. I mean, where we live, there's always drunk people.
Again, I'd like to think that I'd stop and give
And
them
7
something or
p.m.
pick them up or whatever, but I probably
Oh, I haven't gone into that yet. But so a couple saw him at around 7 p.m. So the sun could have still been out. I mean, December, summer,
South Australia?
South
Was
Australia.
it South Coast?
Just near Adelaide.
Yeah.
Where
If you're in summer, you still light at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
for sure.
So, just falling asleep when he was getting his tan on.
In a suit.
In his
People constantly doing that.
Fuck yeah. So around 7 p.m. the night before he was found, a couple witnessed him extend his right arm to its fullest extent and then drop it limply, which is bizarre behavior.
I'm imagining like a marionette's kind of movement.
Yeah. Another witness said that they had seen a man looking down on the man from the top of the steps that led to the beach. So he could have been just someone witness, like a witness like these other people, or it could be something more sinister. According to a pathologist, the man was of British appearance and thought to be aged between 40 and 45, and he was in top physical condition. His hands showed no signs of manual labour, and because of his broad shoulders, pronounced calf muscles, and the shape of his feet, it is thought that he could have been a ballet dancer.
That's pretty good condition then, if you're like
yeah.
somebody's got ballerina calves.
Fuck yeah.
That's no joke.
No.
Also, British looking, what does that mean?
Well, I
it's
mean-
like just a white person, right?
Yeah. But nowadays, like, if you... Well, yeah, I don't know.
Like a hairstyle?
You know, like some
maybe?
people look American.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. He was a professional, right?
All right, yeah.
I didn't write his name down. But he was a professional. All of the labels on his clothes had been removed, but his jacket is thought to have been of American tailoring, and he had no hat, which was unusual for the time. His teeth didn't match any dental records of any known living person, and police speculated that it was possible he had died from suicide because he had no identification on him. The autopsy failed to find any substances in the body, but the doctor who conducted the autopsy said he was convinced the death could not have been of natural causes and that he could have been poisoned, and suggested that a barbiturate or a soluble hypnotic could have been used.
I'm always interested about the context of the medical investigations into murders and deaths. Well, pretty much any time before, like, 2000. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, 1948.
Like,
well,
how
like,
the
what was an
fuck-
autopsy? I feel like I had
Yeah.
people just looking at them going, maybe. Who knows? Like, it could be. It doesn't smell like he's been poisoned.
This is very true. I mean, we've come a long way since
Yeah,
1948.
for sure. I mean, 48. What were they doing back then?
Yeah.
Nothing convincing, sure.
Poisoning remained the prime suspicion, but no conclusion was drawn on his cause of death. So fast forward to January 14th, 1949, so about a month and a bit later, staff at the Adelaide Railway Station discovered a suitcase that had been checked in on the 30th of November, which is the night before he was found. In the suitcase, police found a type of thread that was not available in Australia, and this thread matched that that had been used to repair the lining of the jacket that the man on the beach was wearing. All of the tags had been removed from the clothing found in the suitcase, and characteristics of the clothing indicated that they had been made in the United States. A coroner's inquest into the death commenced a few days after the body was found, but was adjourned until the 17th of June. The body was re-examined, and the investigating pathologist noted that the man's shoes were remarkably clean and appeared to have been recently polished, rather than being in a state expected of the shoes of a man who had been walking around Glenelg all day.
Just also on that point, did you say June that it got postponed?
Adjourned till, yeah.
It's like, that's a pretty long time. Are they looking at the body at this point, or is it just
So at
the clothes?
some,
Because that's like six
So-
months, right?
I didn't
7
put it in
months.
here, but after the autopsy, after the initial autopsy, they embalmed him, which was like the first case in Australia of a body needing to be embalmed. So I guess, I mean,
I'm going to continue like I know the ins and outs of embalming. I have no idea what
well, I
it
guess that
entails.
like
I'm assuming it's
preserves the body,
Right, okay,
so they can go back and
for sure.
so it stops decomposing. I guess not bad stuff for 1949.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit.
Yeah.
And
Who
then-
knows why they adjourned it for 6 months? But maybe this goes deeper than we think.
Possibly. Also, it was 6 weeks from the time the bag got checked into when they opened
they
it, had a little
Yeah.
sticky beak around inside. I feel like I'd last about 20 minutes if I worked at the train station. If somebody has picked up their bag the next day, I'm going
And
to
you'd
it for
think
sure.
a man that had an unused railway ticket on him that was found dead, the first place they would go is,
See if anybody had
railway
picked up
station.
their luggage.
yeah. So
I would have
who
been a
knows?
great detective
Maybe
in
they were just fucking
1948.
lazy.
Yeah, that checks out.
Maybe they had better shit to do.
They had a more exciting case come along.
Doubtful, but it's possible.
Well, I mean, they postponed it for 6 months. What were
Yeah.
they doing for 6 months?
I mean, this was just after World War II. They probably had a
What,
bit of shit
sitting
on.
around being poor for 6 months?
Who knows? Grieving?
Yeah, I guess.
So the body was re-examined. Yeah, he had clean shoes. Which, I mean, if he'd been walking around Glenelg all day,
He's not going to have clean shoes.
he ain't going to have clean shoes. They're going to be dirty. So this evidence fitted in with the theory that the body may have been brought to Somerton Beach after the man's death, which means he could have been poisoned elsewhere, which also, if he was poisoned, a body would usually like convulse and he'd vomit and shit. And shit?
Well,
Who
yeah,
knows?
probably.
Probably.
Everyone does when you die, apparently.
Yeah, can't wait.
Remind me not to die in front of my crush. How embarrassing.
Remind me to die in front of my crush.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so there was no vomit or anything. So that sort of also fits in with the theory that he was brought there.
They got the
later
killing
on.
out of the way first
Yeah.
and did a little drop off at the
Um,
beach.
So, and also none of the witnesses could have positively identified the man because none of them saw his face. But all of the witnesses were convinced that it was definitely the same person, as the body was in the same place and lying in the same distinctive position. So around the same time as the inquest, a piece of rolled up paper was found in a pocket sewn within a pocket of this man's
That's
trousers.
suspicious.
Yeah.
Secret pocket.
So it was a secret pocket. On this piece of paper were the words "Taman should," which is probably not
Right,
how
okay, so it's not a real word.
pronounced.
You probably okay, that's fine. Then any pronunciation will do it. It's just
Yeah.
a random combination of letters.
Yes.
Right.
So public library officials called in to translate the text identified it as a phrase meaning ended or finished, which is found on the last page of Rubaiyat of Amar Khayyam, which is a book of poems by Persian astronomer / poet Amar Khayyam.
Wow. Okay. Can you imagine? Okay.
But
Wait,
he was-
have you got information about how they found out about this?
About,
About where this came from? The book?
well, the public library officials found
That's insane. No Google, they did that.
it. That's very
If
true.
if I am finding something in a different language, I want to know where it's from. I'm Googling it. No results. Investigation over. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Where else do you go from there? How would have they found that?
I know. Fuck, it would have taken some time.
Oh, Persian book of poems. did you
This is
say?
apparently quite a rare book as well. But yeah, so the guy who wrote it.
Surprisingly, 1949, they still didn't have Persian poems on the number one bestseller list.
No.
Huh.
So the guy who wrote it was an astronomer who like wrote poems in his spare time.
I hate people
So
like
he
this.
was a fucking lady killer.
How are you yeah, okay. So moonlighting.
Oh, actually, he was a bit
as
of a fucking
poet.
nerdling.
Yeah, I mean, overachiever. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. He had a fucking bit on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's probably not doing much astronomy during the day. That could be entirely wrong. You might be able to do it during the day as well as you can at night. But I mean, like
Yeah.
if you're doing, I feel like astronomy is more of a nighttime activity.
Yeah.
Sitting around waiting for the stars to come out all day, of course you're going to write poetry.
That's very true.
Especially in 1948. What else are you going to do?
You're not going to fucking flick through Instagram.
No,
that's
that's
for
it.
sure.
I mean, if I was anytime I'm not doing anything now, you're just scrolling.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to scroll, they'd be using a literal papyrus scroll. That's
Yeah.
the only scrolling they're doing.
Very true.
I'd probably be a master poet as well.
Yeah. I went through a little bit of time where I thought that I could have been a poet.
Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short. I've heard some of your poetry. It's not bad.
Yeah. I used to take acid and write poetry.
I'm calling the police. Did you hear that?
Speaking of police,
on record.
they conducted an Australia-wide search to find it. See that segue?
It's a good segue.
Thank you.
It's even better if you point out that you've done a good segue. It really keeps the flow, like
Yeah.
good continuity.
I think so. Thank you. So the police conducted an Australia-wide search to find a copy of the book and a photograph of the scrap of paper was released to the press. The theme of the book is basically to live one's life to the fullest and to have no regrets when it ends. And Taman should are words found on the last page.
Right, okay. Back when Carpe Diem was still cool.
Yeah.
If you see that now, obviously, the charm is lost.
Yeah, absolutely. You're probably a white girl and your name's Amber.
Oh, definitely Amber or Charlotte or something like
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. And you've got it tattooed like on your elbow ditch. So there goes any chance of any Ambers listening to our podcast.
Or Charlotte's. Or anybody who has Carpe Diem or
Taman should.
Taman should tattoos.
Yeah. So following a public appeal, a man showed the police a rare 1941 New Zealand edition of the book in which the last page had been torn. There's some...
Oh, what? So they found the actual book that
Yeah.
it came from.
Yeah.
This keeps
So
getting more impressive, this book investigation.
there is some uncertainty in regards to the circumstances of which the book was found, but most accounts say that the book was found on the back seat of an unlocked car parked in Glenelg. On the inside back cover of the book, detectives identified indentations from handwriting. These included a telephone number and a text that resembled an encrypted message. The words Taman should were missing from the back page of the book, and microscopic tests indicated that the piece of paper was from the page torn from the book. So it was the same book.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I really didn't need to go to that much effort. How many copies of this book are going to have that last little bit ripped out?
So code experts were called in to decipher the encrypted message found indented on the book, but they were unsuccessful. It's basically just like a bunch of capital letters and like 5 words that aren't words.
Just random combinations.
Just like
of letters?
random combinations of letters.
And then you're saying indent is if somebody had written it with the book as a support, so it had been
so like they'd
indented
put in a
in-
paper on top
Right. Okay.
and then written it.
I mean, all of this stuff would be solved instantly now. That you put it
Yeah.
on Reddit, they would go mad for it. You solve it in a
Well,
second.
I mean, there's probably 1 million people on Reddit that think that they've solved this. So the telephone number found indented on the book belonged to a nurse, Jessica Ellen Thompson, who lived about 400 meters from where the body was found on the beach. Jessica was interviewed by police and also shown a plaster cast bust of the man. What?
Do you think you'd be able to identify many of your friends if you saw a plaster
No,
cast?
probably
If
not.
you saw a plaster cast of my bust, which is a hilarious word on its own anyway. I think that's more so why I'm laughing about
Yeah.
it. If you saw a plaster cast of my chest, I mean, there's a bunch of dudes
No,
out
but
there
no,
with like
so it's not-
insanely chiseled
it's not
chests. It
just
could be
his
any
chest.
dude. I mean, it's probably me, but
It's not just his chest. So it's
Right.
like this part of his torso,
Oh,
which
head
you can all
included.
see on this podcast. But yeah, like head. So like from chest up, from like pecs up,
Right,
if you know
okay.
what I mean. I've looked at photos of it.
stop bragging.
So she said that she could not identify the man and that she didn't know him. And the detective who was there when Jessica was shown the bus described her reaction upon seeing the cast as completely taken aback. He said she appeared to look like she was about to faint. And the technician who made the cast and was present when Jessica was shown the cast said that Jessica immediately looked away from the cast. Fuck, they cast again. And refused to look back at it. Jessica said that she had previously... Wait, what?
Oh, I don't keep going. I'm just... This woman needs to... Like, that's not being coy at all. Can you imagine being able to... Like, they're reporting on it. They're being like, oh, she was completely taken aback.
Yeah.
As if you're not just going to pretend like you don't know... Who's that visually excited by something that you give it all? It's all on your face.
Yeah.
It's all there on your face.
So Jessica said that she had previously owned a copy of the book when she was working at the Royal North Shore Hospital during World War II. And she had gifted it to an army lieutenant named Alf Boxall. After the war, Jessica married and moved to Melbourne. And she received a letter from Boxall at some point and wrote him back telling him that she was now married. I mean, it goes without saying that Boxall and Jessica had some kind of... They were boning, for sure.
Definitely.
You don't just give anyone a fucking book of poems.
Well, yeah, and then if he's writing to her now that she's in another relationship, it's like the modern day version of the guy who's getting drunk and texting his ex at 2 a.m.
Absolutely. Perfect.
The modern day version is that, yeah.
So after finding out this information, police suspected that Boxall could have been the dead man, but later in 1949, Boxall was located in Sydney and still had his copy of the book and it was still intact. So in a television interview with 60 Minutes in 2014, Jessica's daughter Kate said that her mother revealed to her that she had lied to police and that she did know the Somerton man and that his identity was known to a higher level than the police force, quote unquote. There has been persistent speculation that the dead man was a spy due to the circumstances and historical context of his death. And Kate suggested that both her mother and the Somerton man had both been spies, noting that Jessica taught English to migrants, was interested in communism and could speak Russian, but never revealed to Kate where she had learnt it or why.
This is the most suspicious person I've ever heard about.
Yeah.
Both of them are. And this guy's got secret pockets with codes in it.
Yeah.
She's got the book the code came from.
Yeah.
As if they're both not spies.
Like, there's so many fucking... If this...
Also, Tracy Grimshaw's really pulling in the stars. Kate McKellen's daughter? Damn.
Who? What?
The daughter of this lady?
Yeah. Huh. Is Tracy
Grimshaw...
She's on 60 Minutes?
Yeah, big time.
I know, I can see her in my head.
Yeah, you can. She got a very distinctive face.
Yeah. So the media have suggested that Jessica's son, Robin Thompson, who was 16 months old in 1948 and died in 2009. Excuse me.
May have been... burp into the microphone there, Israel.
May have been a child of either Alf Boxall or the Somerton man. In March 2009, a University of Adelaide team led by Professor Derek Abbott began an attempt to solve the case through cracking the code and proposing to exhume the body to test for DNA. An investigation had shown that the Somerton man's autopsy reports of 1948 and 1949 were now missing.
Huh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time. Dun, dun, dun.
So a professor of anatomy at the University of Adelaide, working alongside Derek Abbott, examined images of the Somerton man's ears and found that he had a feature possessed by only 1 to 2% of the Caucasian population. In June 2010, Abbott obtained a photograph of Jessica Thompson's eldest son, Robin, which clearly showed that he, like the unknown man, had the same ear feature.
Do you know what the ear feature is?
It's just something to do with, like, the top part has, like, an extra sort of, like, that part there is, like...
That's a good visual. Everyone will love that.
Yeah, I'm just fingering my ear.
You're sticking your finger in the top little flap part of your ear. So there's an extra little ripple there or something?
Yeah, something like that. There is, like, pictures on Wikipedia. Fucking look it up if you want to see.
If we have show notes, we'll put the pictures in.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a lot of work, so maybe just go and Google it.
So the chance...
And it's hereditary, right?
It's hereditary, I think. And the chance that this was a coincidence has been estimated at between 1 in 10 million or 1 in 20 million. Robin Thompson also shared a rare dental condition with the Somerton man, which is hereditary, and also estimated to only be present in 2% of the population. So, you know, like your canines, the pointy teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having so your front teeth and then a tooth and then your canines, It's just front teeth, canines.
Do you know anyone who has that?
I don't know. Since like researching on this, I've been like thinking about it because I like
I know people
good teeth personality. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone's got like kind of crooked teeth, but like it gives them like a little bit of something.
Yeah, I get it. A bit of character to their face.
Yeah, like I feel like that condition would maybe.
I think I've seen people who have like that's still a baby tooth, the canine,
Yeah.
which is maybe as close as I've gotten to it.
Yeah. Also, guess what Robin Thompson did for a living?
Is he a spy?
He was a ballet dancer.
Amazing.
Amazing.
It's the same person. This
Yeah.
is the guy on the beach.
Well,
Is being a ballet dancer hereditary?
I don't think so. But I mean, if you've got, I mean, who knows? No,
Maybe
it's not.
good calves are hereditary.
Maybe.
And then what are you going to do with good calves?
You're going to fucking dance.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Abbott believes that an exhumation,
Exhumation?
that one, could link the Somerton man to a short list of surnames which, along with existing clues to the man's identity, could be the final piece of the puzzle. But in 2011, Attorney General John Rao refused permission to exhume the body, stating there needs to be public interest reasons that go well beyond public curiosity or broad scientific interest, quote unquote.
I feel like public curiosity is the literal definition of public interest.
But I mean,
curious about
there's
something,
it's not like there's a serial killer on the loose, or solving this case is going to put someone away or do anything like that. It's just curiosity.
Right, okay.
So this little piece of information is, well, I'll just say this first. Jessica Thompson died in 2007 and she denied knowing the man up until her death.
Well, up until her death, as in there was a deathbed confession, or she just never said anything about it?
She never admitted that she knew the man.
I would have loved if there was a deathbed confession. When mysteries and murders are involved, deathbed confession is like the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it ever really proves anything because you could just say anything
Absolutely.
when you're dying, but it adds an element.
Yeah, for sure.
No such luck in this case.
I hope that I have something to reveal on my deathbed. So Rachel, who is the granddaughter of Jessica Thompson, daughter of Robin Thompson, has married the Professor Derek Abbott, who has reopened this case, basically. Isn't that the cutest?
That is pretty cute.
Yeah. Like, he would have called her to be like, hey, let's sit down and chat about this. Maybe I'll get some fucking DNA off you. And then they fell in love.
He probably did get some DNA.
He probably
off her.
put some DNA in her.
Exactly. Wow, that is interesting. What
I think that's so cute. I love
I'm
that
desperate to
story.
know the dynamic. I'd pay so much money for the footage of their first date.
Absolutely. You fucking creep.
Me, I
No,
would. No, well,
I would.
that's just every time I see anyone on a first date, it's pretty amazing anyway. But that dynamic especially would be pretty crazy. It's like investing your grandma for a murder.
Yeah. I mean, if Rachel was an insecure person, she could think that he's just using her.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, what evidence are you going to get from?
He's just like stealing forks that she uses. Take to the lab.
It's pretty easy to get. Yeah, I don't think you need to date somebody to get DNA off them.
No, you don't. You're right.
Nobody call the police on me. Anybody could have said that.
So Jessica's daughter Kate also said in her 60 Minutes interview that her mother had a very dark side, and that she's always thought that it could be a possibility that her mother was responsible for the man's death.
That is a statement that literally 100% of daughters would say.
I would for sure say that
about their
my mum.
mothers. Yeah,
Fucking
all of them
lock
think
the
their
bitch
mum's their
up.
devil. Yeah. Oh, she's got a dark side. That's classic. Every daughter's going to say that
Yeah.
about their mother.
Absolutely.
Johnny
Which
sounds
leads
like a
me
jobs
to a theory that I found on Reddit, which I think is quite plausible, and I think this is a theory that I sort of believe in.
Definitely. If I'm going to trust anybody, if the police
It's the
came out and
users
made
of
a
Reddit.
statement and then the Reddit came out and said something different, I'd be like, police know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
You met these people on Reddit? Insane.
They've spent way more time on this than you have.
Oh, for sure. They literally have nothing else
The Reddit
going
user's
on.
name's Dickens Headsworth.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
You know him?
Yeah, big
Good
time.
guy. If you like, he's I think written a little bit more about this case. If y'all want to go have a read, so his theory states that given Jessica's previous sort of connection to the book and the fact that she had said before that it was her favourite book of poems could indicate that she had gifted a copy to the Somerton man when he came to Adelaide to visit her. And that perhaps the meeting didn't go so well. So he, in a dramatic act, had ripped out the words, knowing what they meant, and threw the book in an unlocked car parked in Glenelg, and intended to take his own life. But Jessica beat him to it and poisoned him. Thus meaning his death was nothing more than a personal dispute, and would also explain why Jessica wouldn't admit to knowing the man.
It's very dramatic. I mean, I think that, I feel like just applying Occam's razor to it, I feel like the spy thing is more plausible because it's so dramatic. Do you know anybody who is going to, if somebody, you'd be like, get over it. Like, honestly, you're going to rip a page out of a book of poems and then go and kill yourself because she doesn't like you?
But maybe, yeah, I mean, look, who knows? I mean, I've definitely done some shit when I was younger and thought that I was all emotional and, you know, everything had a deeper meaning. I probably would have tried to do something like that.
Huh. All right.
Not anymore. But I mean, it's definitely very dramatic, but it is still plausible.
Okay, fair enough.
And it links Jessica to it, which she's got something to do with this.
Yeah, that's what I also think her
otherwise,
involvement is...
this is just so full of coincidence. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, I guess, with their relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got to be involved.
And I tried to find a little bit more information about the spy theory. I didn't look very hard.
I think the spy theory I just want it to be real. I've been watching a lot of James Bond movies lately, and
there wasn't a lot of spy activity in Australia at that time. And also there wasn't, I mean, I only looked at one website, so I'm sure you can find more on the spy theory.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and the fact that she spoke Russian.
I don't think there was definitely some Russian spy activity in Australia at that time. Was it? Oh, this might have been a while after. I'm thinking of the Petrov affair. You remember the Russian spies who tried to deport the Russian guy and his wife to Russia against his will and were like marching him through an airport, and the Australian Federal Police.
No, I don't think I know about this.
That's pretty interesting. You should look at it. I don't think it's really a mystery, so I'm probably not going to cover it on another episode, but you should do some research on the Petrov affair.
Petrov?
Yeah.
Affair? Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, well. Well, yeah, that's the end of my mystery. That's the story of the Taman.
All right, so can you so where are we standing right now? Is it just like complete uncertainty? They're just waiting
complete uncertainty, yeah.
Somebody to give the permission to exhumate the body.
Yeah, basically.
I think that's probably one of the best part about the unsolved murder side of the mystery genre is that as stuff comes up, you know what I mean? Like we've got stuff here from like obviously 60 Minutes interview was 2014. And you know, who knows, new Attorney General, something might change where they get permission to exhumate the body, then you've got new evidence.
Well, also Kate, so Jessica Thompson's daughter, because Robin he died in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So she said something about it being disrespectful to Robin to exhumate the body.
And what's he going to do about it now?
Fucking nothing. He's dead. But, I mean, I don't know if that kind of plays into what people can and can't do.
That's mildly insensitive. I stand by it.
This isn't a sensitivity podcast.
Right, okay. And it's not out of character for me, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, good mystery. I'm glad.
I mean, like I said, there's so much. There's so much more. Like a guy wrote a book. I don't know what his name is.
I mean, just hearing that, I kind of want to do a series that's just about this one.
Yeah.
Every little part of that. You could go do a full episode on how they managed to find what book that the phrase was from. That's
you could do a whole episode just about the book, about the astronomer, Amar, whatever.
Astronomer / poet. What a joke.
Yeah. Leave some pussy for the rest of us.
Between me and him, it's all dried up for everyone else.
Yeah. So, what have you got?
Great. No, I love it.
I'm going to sit back.
Maybe should we take a quick A quick
break?
break? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's not going to be any ads just
Just
yet.
yet.
Just yet. Not for the first episode. As soon as someone hears this, I'm sure we'll have
There'll be-
Qantas and
Yeah.
that was the first big company that popped out. I think of something cooler than that. Hilton, I don't know.
Ferrari.
That's what I said. First time Ferrari is going to be lining up. It's get in line, Ferrari. We've got Qantas on the line. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. We've had a break.
We're back. We
Had a
both went to the
snack?
toilet. We had an Oreo.
Ready and raring to go.
Yep.
Got a fresh pot of tea. I mean, pure whiskey. This is what we're both drinking. We're not drinking tea.
tea's for losers.
Absolute
And
losers.
we are not losers.
Finger and a thumb, shape of an L on their forehead, not ours. So something we talked about at the break that we forgot to go over at the start is that we wanted to choose Australian mysteries because I don't know if you can tell, but we are Australian. It's very subtle accents, but we both have them.
Yes.
I originally was not going to choose an Australian mystery, and then I was researching mysteries, and the Australian ones are super interesting. They're better than all of the
When
other
we were
mysteries
just
in the
doing
world.
conspiracy theories, I'll just tell you what I was going to do the Denver airport. Have you?
No, don't ruin it. We might
I might.
put it in the bank.
I'll
Keep
do
it in the bank.
Yeah, but that's very in depth. But yeah, so when we changed to just mysteries, I wanted to do an Australian mystery,
Yeah.
and that one, the Somerton Man, is like one of the biggest mysteries in Australian history.
Oh, that's one of the only mysteries that I've heard about
Yeah.
that was Australian.
And the Dingo Ate My Baby one.
Is that a mystery though? She just definitely murdered that baby.
Who knows? A lot of you might get charged with.
I'm doing something right now that I love doing in my personal life, which is knowing nothing about a topic and making really broad assumptions. I actually like it more than talking about a topic that I know things about.
Yeah.
Like if it's something to do with like a topic that I'm well versed on, not interested. Talk to me about something that I have a very limited knowledge on and the potential to insult people. Huge. Broad brushstrokes for days. It'll make a lot of assumptions.
Good work.
Yeah. In fact, I'll probably, if I get lazy down the line or do things, I'll probably read about 2 sentences of a mystery and then just guess the rest. Just make it up.
It won't be a mystery.
I care
podcast
enough
anymore.
now that I actually have done research on this one. My mystery is called, well, it's about the Rack Man. Have you heard of the Rack Man?
No, not really. So when
Pretty-
I was trying to find a mystery,
Yeah.
that one came up, but I didn't really read into it
Yeah.
too much. So I know very little about it.
I think this is one of one of the larger mysteries as well, as far as like Australian murder mysteries go. We've both chosen murder mysteries. But I hadn't really heard of this one before. And when I came across it, I was pretty impressed. Not in like what had happened to this guy. It's pretty devastating, but
You didn't find it impressive?
well, I mean, there are elements of it that are impressive in the truest sense. In fact, like, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten away with it, but more impressed that I hadn't heard of it before because it's pretty interesting.
And it wasn't that 94? Did you say
it
earlier
is, yeah,
today?
1994 exactly. So that's he was in.
Which isn't that long ago. Is that the year you were born?
He's up Turbo. Don't give out all my personal information. It wasn't 1994. It was
93.
93. Anyway, so this story, it starts on 11th of August 1994. This wasn't when.
Well, that's like almost to the day.
Yeah,
19th of
exactly.
August.
It was like a week and a day ago. Maths. Got him.
You know maths, right?
Not my strong suit. So, yeah, 11th of August 1994, around noon, we've got a fisherman called Mark Peterson. He's on the Hawkesbury River in Sydney, just past Challenger Head, which I guess is, I mean, I'm pretending I know the geography of the area. I don't. I assume there's a place called Challenger Head there. He's near there on his boat, which is called Lady Marion. It's a fishing boat, and he's fishing for squid. Disgusting. Don't know why anybody eats it, personally.
I used to love squid. I fucking...
And now you're a vegan, so
I've
that says
fucked
that
around with
tells
heaps
you
of
how bad it
seafood.
is. I am like, I'm pretty late. I mean, you come into the fish game. I wasn't really into it when I was young. Maybe fish fingers every now and then.
Fuck yeah.
Crumbled fish. Real
Delicious.
cultured.
We're a
sort of
fucking
stuff.
Australian. That is our culture.
But I mean, now I'm into fish, and I'm still not quite
On squid. So
on squid
calamari.
train, yeah.
No calamari.
Yeah, I mean, like, good calamari is good, but it's also got, that stringy thing. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to eat it or floss my teeth with it. And I've had some bad calamari as well. So it's like, I get calamari if I'm at a nice restaurant. I'm not about to go and get it from, like, a corner shop or something like this. Okay, so he's fishing on the Hawkesbury River. He feels a tug on his net. And he goes, "You beauty. I've just got a massive catch." He goes back to port. Wait, I mean, I guess
Was he on his own?
What? Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't mention anybody else here. I think it's just this one guy.
He murdered him.
I've seen.
solved it.
All right, let's go home. That's it. Problem.
Back up.
Murder solved. Well, I've seen a picture. The boat's quite small. I think it's like the size you could just have one guy out there. I don't think it's like Deadliest Catch type of boat we're talking about. It's like a little trawler or something.
Yeah.
So he feels a tug on the net, goes back, doesn't look in the net. Apparently, that's how squid fishing works. You just go
drag the net in,
out of there. So he goes back to port. He winds in his net. Whatever you do with a net to bring it up out of the floor, out of the ocean.
the floor.
The wet floor, also known as the river. And he pulls it up, and instead of pulling up a net full of squid, he pulls up a big steel cross.
Cross, like a Jesus.
Like a cross that somebody would be.
Like a human-sized one?
Well, yeah. So I'll get to the details of the cross. It actually does.
Yeah,
come up
I should
a bit
probably just let
later.
you tell the story.
I'll hold your horses. He pulls up the cross. It's covered in plastic. And as you can see, there's plastic bags attached to it, and he sees a bone sticking out of one of the bags, and he thinks it's got to be an animal bone. Like it can't be anything else. And then he looks closer and he sees multiple bones sticking out. He's like, "This is pretty wild. I've got to go."
That's the dream.
Got to go and tell
I'd love
somebody
to be
about
fishing
this
and find that.
Yeah. So he calls the Broken Bay Water Police, which is like pretty hilarious. I know they're regular police, but if you see water police, you're
The
like,
thought of them like coming in a tinny.
If one of them pulled me over, I'd be like, "Are you kidding? Like, you're not real police."
Yeah.
See you later, Aquaman. Also, while I'm on this point, I just wanted to say most of this is like a bastardized version of an article written by Justine Ford, who's an author and a journalist. She's written a book about. It's called Unsolved Australia, so I'm probably going to delve into that for some topic in the future.
So it's not just this. It's not this. The Rack Man. All sorts of.
She's
mysteries.
done a ton of them. Yeah, exactly. So I think she's all over it.
So what we're saying is we'll probably plagiarize. What's her name?
Justine Ford.
I remember
Definitely
that
you'll be
name.
hearing a lot of her work in the future. But she's a journalist. She'd studied this case for years, and she wrote this really good article. So mine's pretty much laid out in the same progression as hers, but she's also got this really cool like journalistic style where it's like, I don't know, like, okay, so this is one of the quotes when he's talking about, so she says, "Mark called the Broken Bay Water Police, who arrived just before lunchtime. Not that anybody was feeling peckish."
Justine.
Exactly. So she's like, she's putting her own spin on which I like.
Wowee. Love her.
Anyway, so thanks for that little. Okay, so she calls the hilarious police, also known as the Broken Bay Water Police, and the police escort the Lady Marion back to Batonga Wharf, which I think is another wharf, but there's a police little base of operations there, and they've got a police officer who is like their forensic sort of analysis there. It identifies the bones as being human, and so they take them to the New South Wales Institute of Forensic Medicine. I mean, I got caught up in the personalities of this. I mean, I don't think that it's as dense as yours as far as amazing details goes, but I really got caught up in the personalities. Like, some of these people's jobs are amazing. So I went on their like LinkedIn pages and found out what they did now, and like had a look at their university bios and stuff. Forensic pathologist Chris Lawrence and pathologist, he lays out the bones. He said that they've been laid out on the cross in an anatomical way. So this person has been sort of strung up on the cross as if like they were just tied to it while they're not like chopped up and tied to it or anything like. And this is pretty interesting.
So hang on, the person was tied to the cross.
Yeah,
when they were a person.
Yeah, when they're a person shaped.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting. He identifies from the skull the body belongs to a dark-haired Caucasian male.
It's fucking insane.
So that's
that
a lot
they
of
can do
detail.
That.
And so there's a few other things. He gets 21 to 46 years old. Not as impressive. Like that's a pretty
quite broad.
pretty broad range there. But I mean, this isn't like he gets the size of the bones, lays them out, whatever. Finds out this guy is between 5'2" and 5'4", which again isn't very impressive. But
That's
his guy's
short.
very short.
Very short.
He's
That's like
tiny
that's how
little
tall
baby.
I am.
Are you 5'2"?
I'm
Or are you
5'3".
Yeah. It's a tiny guy.
That's a small man.
So they've got some soft tissue remaining in the plastic bags, and something called adiposae. Have you heard of this before?
I have not.
It's called grave wax, also known as grave wax. And so I think it can
Grain
develop.
wax?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what like the chips. They got
Yeah.
sour cream and onion adiposae. And it develops when you have a body underwater, I believe, and maybe in some other circumstances. But it means that it can retain some of the shapes and features, which is probably how they know. Maybe there's some hair. I think there was some hair there, and the face shape and whatever. So his fingerprints have been washed away in the water, which is something that can happen apparently. And the DNA they got from the body was not good enough to give them a conclusive evidence about who it was.
Well, 1994 would have been DNA would have been fairly new.
Pretty fresh on the DNA
Yeah.
front, I think. I'm not sure exactly when.
I always just relate it back to like O.J. Simpson.
That's what, yeah, exactly, the OJ case. Unfortunately, they didn't have the glove for this one. He's another personality, forensic odontologist, which is a dentist for dead people. I've written here, Chris Griffiths is super interesting. He's Air Commodore and Assistant Surgeon General of the Australian Defence Force.
Hang on,
which is
he's
like-
what?
The Air Commodore, which I don't know what that is,
Yeah,
but like
what's
a
that?
badass title. If
Yeah.
whatever they do, I don't know, but it's pretty interesting. And Assistant Surgeon General of the Australian Defence Force.
Great.
Interesting. I found the guy had no fillings. Good on you. Good dental health.
Good fucking work.
And had a lower right molar removed, most likely when he was younger. Which, I mean,
It
would
said
go
that?
back. Yeah.
Most likely when he was younger.
Yeah, that's like some pretty good.
How do they know that?
I know. All of these, that's what I'm saying. All these people have pretty interesting jobs.
Yeah.
They seem to be able to glean a lot of information from what they've got here. So then they've got another person at the institute, or maybe from somewhere else, but forensic biologist and hair expert. Apparently that's the thing. Silvana Tridico identified that he was of Mediterranean or Central European origin. But again, pretty interesting that you can get that from somebody's hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't you just spit in a tube to find out where you were
I
from?
just spat in a tube, yep. It was less exciting than I thought it would be. I just got my results back on Friday.
They just said you're a boring white person.
I'm
They
just
didn't
a
even-
boring white person. So
Yeah.
I have quite dark features, and it's always kind of been speculated that there could be a little bit of Asian in there.
You can see it in her face.
Yes, so I've been told. So I get asked quite regularly. So my really beautiful friend Jack bought me a DNA kit for my birthday, and apparently I'm just Irish.
Yeah.
Boring.
Well, a few other little things.
Few other little
Mostly,
things.
It's like the same caliber as Irish. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there wasn't any.
But I'm going to start telling people that I'm French,
Oh, definitely.
because that was
You're
in there.
1%.
Like 2% French, perfect.
Absolutely. That's all you need.
Running with it,
I'm 0% French, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to claim that I'm French.
perfect.
I know somebody is French. That makes me French. I'm French by association. Okay, so move on to the clothing. This is pretty interesting. And because this is all recent, I like this because a lot of this stuff is still like around. You'll see what I mean here. Clothing. He's wearing a medium, which, by the way, medium on a 5'2" guy. He'd be swimming in this.
Yeah, but you don't know
this
that he
medium
wasn't
shirt.
like a chubby.
Yeah, but the length though. I'm talking like I'm wearing medium. I'm like 5'9".
Yeah, that's
5'10".
true. What brand of shirt?
Right, here we go. I'm glad you asked. Everything Australian is the brand, is a polo shirt. There is, I looked it up, Everything Australian. They've got an online store. They're not doing their own line anymore, I guess. They're just like retailing. It's like a workwear store. So they just have like high-vis gear, and they sell King G and Bisley. And
Well, some brands like
King
a
G and
medium
Bisley,
shirt.
if you want to give us a...
Sponsorship?
Yeah, sponsorship. That's what I said.
Some brands are so fucked with their sizing. Like
Yeah,
the medium
okay.
could have been a small.
And I think with the polo, the next thing is that is his underwear, which I'll come back to the polo then in a second. Blue and white striped. The brand is Sparrow. Still around. Sparrow underwear. They've got like 3 styles. Looked them up online. They don't have blue and white striped anymore. If they
What
had
kind of
blue and white-
underwear? Like
well, then I don't know. See,
Briefs?
I'm assuming 94 to me
Briefs.
feels like a briefs
Yeah.
time. I feel like
with like,
boxer briefs have
slightly worn in certain places.
Definitely.
Couple of holes.
Yeah. But their size 85 centimeters, which for a guy is like it's like between 32 and 34 inches, which is not skinny.
Pretty standard.
Well, ish. Yeah.
What are you, like a 30?
Well, yeah, I'm like a 30. The medium shirt might make a bit more sense because your polo shirts have got that like the band of elastic around the bottom
Yeah.
of the arm, and if you're carrying a bit of weight, that's going to tighten up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Or if you've got like big guns, like I get this problem all the time with polo shirts. So it's just like cutting off circulation to the pythons. What's going on? Need an athletic fit. I'm not in good shape for anybody who's wondering.
I'm sure at some point you'll see pictures of us. It'll all make sense.
The police tracked down the manufacturer of the shirt and showed them the shirt, and they identified that particular tag was used between 1982 and 1987. They had 23 retail stores at the time. A majority of them were in Sydney. So it's likely this guy was a local. I think he had some stores in Queensland and stuff like that as well. But if you're buying clothes from a workwear store in Sydney, you're probably going to be living there. Based on my no experience as a detective. He also had large size, dark, no sweat brand track pants on with a packet of Benson and Hedges cigarettes and a pink lighter in the pocket.
You know what
Very
he sounds
progressive.
like? You know, like I guess you would call him like a lad.
Yeah.
That's exactly like a polo shirt.
This is where the age, because if you're 21 and you're wearing this, definitely a lad.
you
If
definitely-
you're 46 and you're wearing this, not so much. I don't think they found a hat,
Yeah.
which probably puts a pretty big
Or a
dent in
bum-
that theory.
bum bag?
Could have floated away. Or maybe they didn't include the bum bag.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
they took the bum bag themselves. Nice little Nike or Adidas
Mm.
fanny pack. No shortage of those in Sydney at the moment. Now, this page I've got is labelled less funny details. So I figured there was probably not as much room for comedy in here. I'm sure that I'll find a way, but I was reading it and just going, this is pretty sad. So the police identified the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. No, never a fun way to go. The frame had been custom built for him. I didn't think that was a necessary detail to include in the article. I was like, obviously, like you're not popping down to Bunnings and going, oh yeah, what crucifix for a 5'4"? yeah, just one thing.
But I mean, it sort of lets you know the amount of premeditation that must have gone into this murder.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 43 kilos, which is like, that's pretty solid. But if it's a steel frame, you're going to assume it's something like that. They're unsure if he was dead before or after he was attached to the frame. So this is pretty interesting here. So it's 1.82 meters long, the main bar, like the upright, which is still at 5 foot. That's a lot taller than him. But I guess you want a little bit of room to move. It's got 2 cylinders.
To move around on the cross.
Well, yeah, for sure. You want to make sure he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Two
Before you
cylindrical poles welded
hit him
onto
in the
it, so
head.
perpendicular. This is the crossbar. They're 2 separate bars that have been welded on, which again, that's some serious effort that's gone into it. And between the 2 bars, there's 2 pieces of reinforcing rod that have been attached and bent into a restricting L shape over the body. So to hold him onto the cross.
Yeah.
Which if he's still alive while that's going on, that's a bit of a shocker.
Do you? I'm not sure if you're going to go further into the head, like the blunt force trauma, but do you know where on his head the sort of wound was?
I don't think I have any more details about blunt force trauma. I'm sorry to disappoint.
That's totally
I think
fine.
that's it.
I mean, if he was held onto the cross and the injury was on the front of his head, then he would have been. You would assume that he had been put on the cross and then killed.
Or if it was on the back of his head, maybe he was banging his head against the back of the cross.
And he killed himself.
Elaborate suicide, but possibly. Honestly, I don't think he was. I think he was already dead by the time he gets on there. Because saying his body is wrapped in black plastic. He had 2 plastic bags covering his head. Orange,
2?
Yeah. Yeah, you even get warned by your parents about putting 1 plastic bag over your head. This guy's a danger
Fucking going
mouse.
for it. But that wasn't the cause of death.
Thrill seeker. No,
So
I
they
don't
were just
think
trying
plastic
to-
bag to the head was the official cause of
So they were
death.
just trying to cover the body.
Yeah, but make it waterproof maybe. Make sure they leave a lot of DNA evidence in there. Get better at murdering, guys. Jeez. Orange rope tied around his head, and then, yeah, he had wire wrapped around his neck and his torso that was, again, tying him onto that thing. So he wasn't coming off that
Wire.
cross anytime soon. No.
Which surely would have been like cutting into his skin a bit.
Yeah. We've got another personality here. I never heard this word before. Emeritus Professor Donald Anderson, which apparently just means retired. But I think it means that, like, he's retired, but maybe he's still on call because he's so good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a professor of biology at the University of Sydney, and he assessed 2 barnacles they pulled off the cross. So, you know, they think that by getting the growth rate and the size of the barnacles, they could figure out how long
it'd
the
been
cross
there,
had been underwater. And he concluded that the frame had been underwater for less than 1 year, but it was also, he said, that not necessarily. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like an exact science barnacle life age determination. Because of they use this like crucifix, the police think that the victim was involved in organized crime. It's a pretty wild way to kill somebody. Like if you're a civilian murderer, somebody who's murdering civilians, and you're just a normal person not involved in like organized crime, you're really going to come up with something a bit more like, this is a ballsy move just to tie somebody to a cross and be like, see ya. But somebody will definitely find this, and there's going to be a ton of DNA evidence because...
I would assume that it's not whoever committed the murder. It wouldn't be their first.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the
absolutely.
person who killed him probably had experience.
Yeah, if they're knocking up crucifix...
Yeah.
Or
Or they just fucking, it's just a really pissed off
Yeah, it's
girlfriend
like...
or something.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. Again, ballsy
or boyfriend,
move.
who knows?
And so I just want to stop here and say that there was... So the detective chief inspector, John Lehman is his name. He had, there's a quote, and I don't know if this is, I don't think this is taken out of context, but I'm looking at it now and just like, so he says, this is verbatim. I would say as an investigator that it's an unusual way to dispose of a person. Okay, Captain Obvious.
That is mansplaining
insane.
at its finest.
Insane. Can you imagine if somebody would talk to you in such a condescending manner in your life?
Oh my gosh. What's his name?
Oh, unusual, is it? John Lehman? Real
John
expert.
Lennon?
I'm glad we've got your... John Lennon. I think that's who it
Should we
was.
start some
Been
rumours here?
Moonlighting as a chief inspector.
In
since
Australia.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got a forensic anthropologist and a forensic anatomist. All these jobs are
To me.
amazing. Like, was one of my favorite parts of the research, is finding about all these jobs. So the anthropologist, we've got Dr. Denise Donlan, and the forensic analyst is Maya Satismo. They created a facial reconstruction of the victim's skull, and then a computer-enhanced image of the victim, which is basically just like a police sketch. Again, if we have show notes, I'll put it in there because they're pretty funny. They've got 3 different faces. One, I think there's like 2 different hairstyles, and then one that's bald that is just like the skull shape. And I think that's going to be pretty bang on. Like, they've done a pretty good job there. Me not knowing the guy, what he looks like, or having seen any other photos.
Great work.
It looks good though. Way to go, guys.
So what you're saying is he's hot as fuck.
No, I'm not
Okay.
saying he's necessarily attractive. I'm just saying I think they did a good job of sketching this guy.
Okay, great.
Okay, so these in computer enhanced, which I love when they say that. Like, you know, in movies, how they have security footage and they zoom in and then go enhance. But it's like, it's clearly obviously already at maximum resolution. You can't that's not the way that it works. You can't just get extra pixels by saying the word enhance. So they distribute these pictures out to the media and police investigators. It's aired on a show called Australia's Most Wanted, which I'm guessing is some like
It's like a Forensic Files.
Oh,
type
you know
thing.
the show.
I've heard the words put together.
From the name, I'm getting a pretty good idea of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
great-
like a corny reenactment.
We won't
sort
be
of show.
doing an episode on that name. It's not exactly a mystery.
No.
Got him. So they air it on this show. They put it in the media, which I assume they're putting in papers and that sort of thing. And they get a bunch of phone calls from people. Way to go, appealing to the public. This is like this would have been their version of getting Reddit to solve the crime. They get a bunch of phone calls straight away of potential victims. Obviously, this is still a mystery, so they don't know who it was. But I'm going to run through a list of the top 5 suspected victims. And you know when they-
Suspected, like, of
people
who
who they
this
think
man
it
is.
is. Yeah. They just they still don't know who this guy is. But they have a bunch of suspects that people were calling up, and they're like that. All of them kind of fit.
Is it called a suspect?
It's a suspected victim. Like
Okay.
a suspect.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
probably
yeah,
using
but-
that as in like they know who the murderer is. They
Yeah.
don't know who the murderer is either. And there's probably suspects for the murderer. But I'm talking about suspected victims now.
Great.
So the first guy, Joe Biviano. What I like about all of these have like a tag, and that's it. That just like sums their personality, who they are as a person up in like 3 to 4 words. And it's like interesting. Like if you're involved in something like this, what would your little tag be? You know what I mean?
Well,
like
I
this
wouldn't
guy.
get to decide. Can you? What would my tagline be?
Well, I don't know. See this one, convicted drug dealer.
Oh.
That's like his. But like all of them have this one thing that's identifying them.
That's like a bad Tinder bio.
I'm
That's
not.
like
I'm
the
not
guy's
over it yet.
career or job, or what he does.
He's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe he
mine would
wasn't.
just say,
Maybe he
like,
had another job and he was
university
convicted
student.
once of drug dealer, and they're like, huh,
Future successful podcaster.
exactly. Maybe he did plenty of other good things. Probably not. This guy's probably a piece of shit. Joe Biviano. 30 years old when he vanished. Dark hair, Mediterranean appearance. Check. Got him. Although didn't get him. Last seen in December 1993 in Sydney in, I can't remember, some shithole suburb on his way to a party. Okay, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. Last seen on his way to a party in December. Could not find his dental records? Come on.
Where were they?
I guess maybe he never went to the dentist.
No, but didn't even molar remove.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they didn't. This guy went missing. He's a missing person. Like, they I don't
Yeah.
know if they found his body.
Yeah.
So the police took DNA. They didn't. The police took DNA evidence from a relative, but they were unable to get a match, and he was ruled out. Which is another question I have about DNA, because they said they had inconclusive evidence from the body for DNA, but maybe it was enough that they could get a match for somebody else if they had another copy of the same DNA, which is, I assume is what they're testing here. So yeah, he ruled out, didn't have matching DNA. Second guy, we've got a Peter Mitras, Greek businessman. That's his tagline. Bit better than convicted drug dealer, but again, pretty boring. Disappeared in King's Cross in April 1991. This is a while before. Police had previously been given evidence that Peter had been bashed to death and dumped in the ocean off Sydney. Check, again.
Where did they get that information?
I don't know,
from?
that seems shady. I feel like that's something that somebody has given to the police, like to get a reduced sentence or something. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Squeal like a pig. Street terms. He's 5'10", though, apparently. And according to his sister, how's this? She just flames her dead brother. His crooked teeth didn't look anything like that belonging to the victim. What a bitch. No, his teeth were much more disgusting than this.
Poor Peter.
Poor Peter.
But if he's 5'10", it's not the guy.
Yeah, and I don't think bodies are known for shrinking after they...
No.
A bit more of a swelling situation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no expert.
So unless
but
somebody put those bones in the tumble dryer, they came out really small.
Good one.
Thanks. Number 3. That's not that guy. It's 5'10". It's too big.
Yeah, it's not him.
Number 3, we've got Christopher Flannery. Alleged hitman. All these people kind
Yes.
of have badass backstories. This not so much. Also known, so this is his street name as Mr. Rent-A-Kill. Come on, dude.
Wow.
Get a better-
That sounds 90s. That sounds like a 90s comedy crime
It
show.
is. It's a joke. Imagine if you'd spent all your time becoming a hardened criminal hitman and your name is Mr. Rent-A-Kill. Damn.
Like Vin Diesel would have played
Devastating.
him in the 90s.
Oh, absolutely. That name has Vin Diesel written all over it. That name is basically wearing a wife beater. In my notes, I wrote, I can't tell if this is cool or not, Mr. Rent-A-Kill. But
In the
I
90s,
think
it
saying
would've
it
been
out
cool
loud,
as
I
fuck.
can tell now that it's not cool.
In the 90s, though?
Oh, yeah, okay. It's 90s cool.
Yeah. It's not nowadays cool.
No, not at all. If somebody came up and tried to kill
But you
me
wouldn't
and
want
they
it to
said,
be
oh, my
cool,
name's Mr. Rent-A-Kill, I would die of
it's not like you can
laughter
just tell
before he had
everyone
a
what you
chance
do.
to murder me.
Yeah,
And
you
do you
wouldn't really
think
want
you
it
probably
to be
don't
cool.
get to choose your own name? Your own hitman name? Like, he's not going to go up and introduce himself as Mr. Rent-A-Kill.
Making
He's gotta
business
be cool.
cards.
You gotta be, if you're a hitman, you got to play it cool. Yeah, I don't think you're making business cards
Yeah.
as a hitman. You can't.
1-300.
Too much of a
Rent-A-Kill.
paper trail. Okay. Everyone get a nice...
Whiskey?
Yes. Absolutely. Number 4, we've got Stephen. I originally wrote it with a V, but it's with a PH. Stephen Bryant. Oh, wait, no, I didn't finish Mr. Rent-A-Kill. He disappeared in 1985. That feels like a long time ago. But his dental records did not match. I really need to do some research on how dental records work.
Yeah.
I do not know how they do it.
Well, it rules him out then.
I guess.
Like, you can't manipulate dental records.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to say
You
that
put braces on a
definitively. I don't know.
skeleton. no, you can't. The records.
I mean, you would need
Can't
quite
put
a
braces
bit.
on his records.
You'd need to be a dentist.
Yeah. But you, in your case, you had all of the evidence go missing out of the police.
Yeah, but their records didn't match.
And this is
both of their
94 as
records
well.
were there.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Stephen Bryant. I got really excited when I saw this guy. He went missing in 1993 in a place called Chukabia, which is
Oh, that's a fun
very
name.
close to
What is
where
it
I
called?
grew up. Chukabia. Very close to where I grew up.
That sounds fun to say. But
And I
can't say
think
it.
there are some other, there's some other mysteries. And I might even go into this guy because he's not the guy either. He went missing from Chukabia in 1993. He was due to spend Christmas in 1993 with his friends in Chukabia.
So where's Chukabia? Victoria?
No,
Or
in New South Wales. Yeah. It's a like a small country.
Near Grafton.
Yeah, but it's even smaller. It's like a village. Okay, so police think he was involved in a drug deal gone bad. Or a drug scam, maybe? Which checks out Chukabia. I can believe that. But they had no evidence that tied him to the Rack Man. So I don't think they got any DNA evidence in this case because
So
he's
they
still
basically
missing.
were just like people missing in the Sydney.
Well, yeah,
greater
like
region.
also that they have photos of these people. They match the appearance.
Yeah.
And like in that age range, height, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the last guy, Matt Tanchevsky.
Great.
I've just butchered it. This is his thing, gambler. That was his tagline. Gambler.
Gambler. That's all. Gambler.
So at that point, do you not have a job? You're just gambling things?
Well, I was talking to this guy the other day who said that he did professional poker for like 2 years and would make like $10,000 a month.
That's bragging camp.
And he told me all about it. And it's like a legitimate job, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
But I mean, this guy could have just been sitting there fucking drinking
Well,
Forex gold and putting coins in the pokies machine. Who knows?
I think so. So he's last seen in January 1993 in Newtown, Sydney. He had, I don't know how they knew this, but when he was last seen, he had $1,800 in cash on him when he disappeared, which I love this, $3,300 in today's money. Oh, when people say money from a year that is not this year, and then somebody tells me what it is in today's money, goosebumps. Damn, I'm all about that
Love
kind
a bit
of
of finance.
information. Keep that in mind. If you've got any people that have money on them in 1948 would have been a good
How
one.
do they? He was last seen. Was he like flashing the cash?
Yeah,
How
I think
do they
he
know?
was like, ladies, getting my Mercedes. And he's got like a wad of $50 bills. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Which is what I do every time I have a wad of $50 bills. Like I've got it for any reason. Love it.
Love it.
apparently not unusual for him to have this kind of cash on his person. All of his friends are really just like dissing this dude. It's like, yeah, this is the information, not unusual. Be more coy. If you're one of my friends and I go missing, don't tell them what I'm always doing. Keep it a mystery to them. I like being mysterious. He often traveled to the Gold Coast, which is where we are.
That's where we are.
I think this is another thing that made me excited about this guy. He often traveled to the Gold Coast while he was gambling, which is like interesting because I feel like Sydney would probably be more of a hub for gambling.
Yeah, probably.
Because you've just got the Cass here, unless he's like just poking around the RSLs, put it in the slots.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think that Sydney has a couple of casinos, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've just got the one.
Just the one.
Just the one. Yeah,
Plenty of pokies though. No shortage of pokies on the coast.
Absolutely no shortage of pokies.
But he would always return home after a few days. Oh, that's nice. At least he's consistent. Consistent piece of shit.
Return
but again,
home
this
to
is the same.
Newtown.
Exactly, back to Sydney.
How did he get around? I mean,
I think planes existed in 95. I don't think he was like riding on a papyrus scroll to the Gold Coast.
You're right.
Horse and cart.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 6 months.
In my head, it was. I mean, the
Surfers
90s
paradise.
was only 20 whatever years ago,
Quick maths.
but it feels like longer.
Yeah, it does. If 94, I mean, it does. It feels pretty primitive now.
Yeah.
But at the time, sure, they had stuff going on.
Yeah.
Getting into mobile phones and
The internet,
kind of
DNA,
Yep.
it was all happening.
All that stuff. But again, no evidence. Didn't get any DNA or dental records from this guy, apparently. So, yeah, that's it. Okay, so we're up to now with this case. It's $100,000 now, or a reward for available information. If
That's
it
not that
results, well, it's not nothing.
Is it available? Is it information that leads to the identification?
It
of
results
the
in
man?
the arrest and conviction.
Of
It
the
has to be
murderer.
information. Yeah, exactly. So it's got to be pretty significant. You'd almost have to tell them who it was and give them evidence.
Yeah.
Or turn yourself in. I wonder if you can get the 100K if you turn yourself in.
There's probably like some fine print.
And then I wonder if that's $100,000 in today's money. Since they put up the reward. It should go up. It should appreciate.
Yeah, it should for sure.
And if people get really interested in the case, it should go up as well.
Yeah.
Public interest.
Mm.
Which apparently does not mean public interest.
Public curiosity.
Okay, so if you're curious about something, would you would you say that you're interested in it? I know it's not the same thing. I'm getting into it's a semantic argument, but get it together, Attorney General. Let's dig up that body. That's what I'm talking about. John Rowe, was it?
Oh my! How did you remember that?
It's
I'd
probably
forgotten.
wrong. It's probably wrong. Okay, so the man's remains are still in the morgue in Glebe in Sydney.
I mean, now they've got good markets.
What, the morgue?
Glebe.
Right, they do have good markets. And it's very much like almost nearly Globe, which I loved those
Yeah.
Globe shoes when I was younger. So it's a little throwback.
Yeah, I quite liked Globe shoes as well.
Globe had the fattest scabies, which is if you're
My first pair of skate shoes were Vans, actually, but they
yeah.
were like
throwback. You were wearing
white.
Vans earlier today.
Yeah, it was cool as fuck. They were white and pink and like
Self-proclaimed.
as big as a car.
Yeah. I had a big. I had Etnies. Tongue was
Yeah.
so fat I
So
could
fat.
barely do up the laces.
90s fashion.
All black. They still complied with the school's uniform
Yeah.
policy.
See, I
I
went.
was sidestepping those uniform
Yeah.
rules like nobody's business.
You would have gone to like a Catholic school or something. Hey?
Well, why would you need to make an assumption like this? I did, but why would you say that?
because aren't your family?
And I think
religious?
you probably know that. Yeah, you probably know that anyway.
How many brothers and sisters do you have? 80?
Yeah.
I think I've already made that joke today, so it's probably
I think it was 15 last time. I'm appreciating the exaggeration though.
procreation rate.
So
Scoring.
his remains are, still in the morgue. Unknown bones, E48293. That's what he's marked as. In case you're wondering, go on a little tour of the morgue in Glebe. Have a look.
Can you
Keep
go
an
on a
eye
tour?
out for E48293. I don't know, possibly. If you say you've got some
And that's
information.
quite sad. Like,
Yeah.
all you are is a number in a morgue. No one fucking gives a shit that you're missing.
Well, they don't know who he is. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
like,
if your loved one had gone missing,
you probably want to be more than unknown bones to them.
yeah. And obviously no one's
Unknown
looking
Bones would be like a cool name for a
podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So if
Um,
anybody does a podcast in the future that's about murder mysteries, unsolved crimes, that sort of thing, probably unlikely. That name's up for grabs.
What if we want to use it?
Unless we use it, in which case,
Trademark.
hands off.
Trademark,
Copymark.
motherfuckers. Yeah, I mean, it's quite sad. Obviously, no one's looking for this guy. Because if someone was,
Yeah, they would have found him. I think
They
the
would have found
organised crime thing sort of plays into that. You know, like these guys, you didn't necessarily, like if it's a young guy in an organised crime, he's maybe not necessarily going to have. But yeah, it's kind of sad. We've got another quote here. The first part's kind of funny if you take it out of context. It's the Detective Sergeant Gary Williams from the Major Crime Squad. When he's summarising the case, he said it's been a time-consuming exercise. Oh, thanks. This is a great insight. Peek behind the curtain there. Who would have guessed? But he did say it was one of the most baffling cases he's ever confronted. Which is like, that's pretty good. This is like Detective Sarge. I don't know if that's good or not. But he works in the Major Crime Squad. Again, don't know if that's good or not, but it sounds cool.
it sounds cool.
A lot of these jobs sound really cool. What was that guy before who said they're hilarious? Detective Chief Inspector. Ooh,
Ooh.
detective.
Well, see, I might have one of these titles one day.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm studying criminology.
Right. Yeah, big time.
I'm a big dog.
Big dog.
And then they'll find out I had this podcast and no one will hire me.
Because they know how thorough you are. Not only a perfectionist working there.
Exactly.
Intimidated is the word I was looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to have a look at this seriously, definitely read Justine Ford's article on this. She's like done a really good job and she's done a bunch of research. So yeah, have a look. She presents it in a really good way. She's again got that really good journalistic style. She's got a couple of little Justineisms, I'll say, in there.
Oh.
She the one from before. Mark called the Broken Bay Water Police who arrived just before lunchtime. Not that anybody was feeling peckish. Cheeky,
Classic.
very cheeky,
Love it.
Justine. So that's pretty much it for the mystery.
Yeah, right. Awesome. That was
Surprisingly unsolved.
Yeah, right. That was good. That was really good. I didn't know about that one,
Thanks.
apart from the very small amount I read about it.
Cool name too, the Rack Man.
The Rack Man. Why
This
do they
is
call
like
him
I
that?
feel like this would be one of your mates that's like always hitting the bag at
Yeah.
the like every Friday, like, oh, here he is, the Rack
The
Man.
Rack Man. We all turned into the Rack Man at some point of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not me anymore.
Not me ever. I'm still always at church. That's why.
Why do they call him the Rack Man
Because he's all strung up on the rack.
on the cross?
Yeah.
They could have made that way cooler.
I know.
The crucifix man.
Exactly, or something like
Jesus.
something biblical. Exactly.
I mean, that's how Jesus was died.
Yeah.
Was killed.
Was
Whatever happened
died.
to him.
That's the right way. Yeah. It was past tense.
Yeah.
Was died.
Yeah.
King of the Blues, maybe, because New South Wales is like the blues, and people
Was-
call Jesus King of the Jews. That could
Nice.
be it. That is better.
That's like
That's better than the Rack Man.
Sounds like a Broadway musical.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you could turn this into a Broadway musical.
Yeah. Mixing murder and the Bible,
Song and dance.
which I'm sure it's been done.
Absolutely.
There's lots of
That's a
murder in the
classic
Bible.
genre mashup.
Yeah.
Murder mystery and the
Isn't it-
Bible.
have you read the Bible?
The whole thing, constantly. I'll got the audiobook, baby. Every night I go to sleep.
Do they have it on like Audible?
Yeah, for sure. It's like the most popular book in the world.
Is it though?
I think so.
Yeah, cool.
I think, and also I think it's one of those things that's like it'd be a freebie. You're not having to, because people give away Bibles for free.
Yeah.
People would have definitely. There's audiobooks being circulated of the Bible in share for free.
How fucking boring would it be listening to the Bible on an audiobook?
Well, yeah. I mean, you say what you will. If you could just quickly isolate all of our Christian listeners, that'd be good. Because I'm sure they're going to be. There's going to be number one on their list. Okay, so let's move on from that. We've got another little segment.
Yeah. So
Ish.
so I'm going to ask you a very personal question.
Yes, hit me with it.
Can you please show me or tell me your recent phone Google searches?
I thought you'd never ask. I thought you'd never butcher the start of that segment for me. Okay, so I just really want to be. I want to be honest with you guys. I don't want to hold anything back, so I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain of my life and give you some of my recent Google searches. I think
an insight to who Lewis Hamilton really is.
Absolutely, I think that is you can learn a lot about somebody from what they're searching on the internet. Just basic Google searches, very menial things, but it'll probably give you a pretty good idea of what's going on with me. So I'm just going to give you a selection. I'll just go through some of my recent ones. So this morning, I searched Legolas with a party hat on saying sluts. A lot of these, I will say, is me looking for memes. And so, that's a very specific. Also, look that up. Everybody look that up. Yeah, big time. It's really good.
Can you show me?
It's a behind. No, you'll just Google it after this. It's pretty good. And then it'll be in your Google
with a party hat on saying slut.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So here's I'm not going to omit any, but it also is not going to make me look cool. Strictly pull up body weight exercise. Not great. Shell pink Fender Stratocaster. I'm looking for a pink guitar. If anybody has one, please sell it to me.
Or give it.
Well, give it to me. I'm desperate. I'm desperate for it.
Did the Google search bring anything up?
They're very hard to find.
Do you strictly want a Fender?
Or
will you take any?
Well, I'll take.
Pink
I'm
guitar?
not looking for anything of less quality than a Japanese Fender. A boutique guitar companies, or if it's a custom, I'll take it. I'm not looking for a Squire. If you've got a Squire, keep it to yourself.
I know nothing about guitars, so you can give it.
Squire
you can give
is
the Squire
the
to me.
entry level brand of Fender.
Perfect.
But it's fine. It's I'm not. There's nothing wrong with it.
But you'd ruin your street cred when you're on stage.
I've got an entry level guitar. I don't need another one. So official United States CNN Tumblr. Again, I'm searching. Well, not again, but I search in these very weird. I don't know if anybody else a free verse, a poem, haiku style of writing. Are you Google searches like this?
We did this. We've done this before. Mine aren't that good.
But the style of language I'm using. Okay, what is Dutty wine? I heard it in Jamaican. They're always talking about Dutty wine.
What's that?
Yeah, exactly.
What did the Google search bring up?
Well, it's it's a Jamaican dance, but I think also then there was a song called Dutty Wine, and now it's being used quite a lot in that kind of music. Thanks for the math homework. It's a GIF of Michael Scott from The Office. Did I send that to you?
You sent it to me.
I sent it to you. Yeah.
Because I was giving you homework for this podcast.
Exactly.
This very podcast.
Yep. Onyx ring. How much does onyx cost? I was trying to figure out if it's a rare a precious gemstone or not.
Is that ring an onyx?
No. This is that's what I want. Something very much like this, but it has. It's an onyx. Yeah. Stone. And I think it's kind of a precious gemstone, but not really. I think it's the same. You can get X amount of carats.
Yeah, right.
Broncos score round 23. Cowabunga dudettes Kim Kardashian, which if you have not,
say that again.
Cowabunga dudettes Kim Kardashian, which have you have not seen this tweet? There's Kim Kardashian tweeted this 10:47 a.m. August 29th, 2010. This is a real tweet from Kim Kardashian. Cowabunga dudettes, I'm so pumped to be on this surfing kick. Who else surfs out there? Gnarly day in the H2O, riding waves.
What?
I know. I can't believe that exists.
That's amazing.
The first time I saw that, I was like, I could die.
I wonder what was going through her head. I mean, obviously...
It's 2010. Okay, I
that
kind of get it, though.
Empire? Kardashian Empire? Sure.
No, she's famous in 2010, I think. I'm sure there's some incriminating evidence from me online from 2010. Probably you as well.
Yeah, I dare say so. There's incriminating evidence from me last week.
Yeah, exactly. Your story is a nightmare. Okay, Crazy Town Butterfly, great song.
Great song.
Yeah. Jinko jeans. What
were you looking at them for?
Do you know what Jinko jeans are?
I think we all know. Those
I think Jinko shut down recently, which is a
just
modern
recently.
travesty. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, they've not been in fashion since the 90s or early 2000s, surely.
Yeah, they did pretty well to last this long. Chandler Bing fashion,
Wow.
which okay,
I can see
because we're
it
going
now.
through like a 90s thing at the moment,
Yeah.
and I was like, he was kind of wearing some fire outfits
Yeah, you're right.
back on Friends.
Fashion at the moment, especially for dudes, it's like you can't tell whether someone is a fucking nerdling or cool as fuck.
These lines are so blurred. It's like
Yeah.
Robin Thicke is dictating fashion. Got him.
Got him.
But it is you can't
You
tell.
can't tell.
I mean, this outfit now, if you put that on, like it could be easily.
5 years ago, people would have been like,
Okay, John Cena suit Gangnam Style depression. Again, a
Wowee.
hilarious meme if you want to look at that. And then Kendrick Lamar bodyguard, which everybody should search as well.
why?
Kendrick Lamar is quite short, much like
Is he?
much like the Rockman. He's 5'4", and his
Kendrick Lamar's probably a bit of a
bodyguard
rapper.
is an absolute unit. He's at least 6'17", 500 kilos. He's a weapon. And
Is
so there's a
he-
picture of him and Kendrick Lamar walking together, and it looks like somebody has like done a joke Photoshop on Kendrick Lamar and like made him look like a tiny baby next to this person.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. My last one, just because boys, all types of boys. Just looking for the rest of Missy
Did you
Elliott's
split
work
that
there.
into like Pornhub?
That was not a Google search exactly. I was looking very, very specific video on that one.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much rounds up my internet history for this week.
Yeah, I like it. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, it's nothing's good. I'm not searching anything
Like, it'd be nice
impressive.
to see like the progression of it.
I'm definitely not getting any smarter if that's what you're implying.
Yeah.
Um,
Funnier, perhaps.
yeah, maybe.
See how your interests change. You might not be wanting to do upper body strength training.
Well, maybe. Who knows? Let's see. It's early days on the purely body weight exercises.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
Today I convinced Lewis to come to a box fit class with me, and I can't wait.
We have tentative plans to do box fit, which I'm glad they came up with the word box fit because I think at one point it was called boxercise. If it was called
that's funny to
boxercise,
say.
I would not have gone. Box fit I'm on board with.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty, well that probably is a pretty good spot to wrap things up. Thank you for tuning in. If anyone has listened to this, if you've made it this far, well done.
That was a quick one. We got it done in a tight 100 minutes.
100 minutes.
110? 120?
I mean, it's our first episode.
Yeah.
We'll tighten things up as we go, I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll get rid of some dead weight.
Yeah.
Izzy might come back.
You'll have me back?
We'll see.
Perfect. Alrighty, thanks so much, guys.